I am interviewing Eric Perry on our project for WRD110. Okay, how does the military impact families or your family in general?
Well, I mean, and every family is different. You know, I was a single guy for my length of service with the Navy, and so the impact on my family was very different than a lot of the people I served with who were married with kids. Um, with my family, there was definitely a strain of separation. It seemed like a couple of weeks. I got a year to come home and visit with them. Everything was kind of rushed, trying to see everybody in such a short amount of time and catch up and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure it affected them when I wasn't home on Christmas or Thanksgiving or, you know, important days like that. But, we were able to cope through it pretty well. Um, it's also kind of a strain when you're away and you come back and things are different, because, everything is always in change and, always in flux, so to speak. And so it almost by the time you were kind of adjusting to the differences in how things had changed over the past 6 months or a year or how long I'd been away from home, it was time to leave again. So, that made it very difficult. Now, as for some of my coworkers, they had a lot more problems because we worked a lot of hours, spent a lot of time away from our family, from their wives and kids, and that put a definite strain on their relationship, and there wasn't much that could be done about it because we had to have, everybody had to go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, one thing that my command was really good about was that, and we were an all male command, being a submarine, was if a guy's wife was due to to deliver their child, they usually got him a couple of weeks off. Like they would even let him miss at sea time to be there with his wife when his kid was born. So that was really good of them, but that wasn't at all required. That's just something that they strove to do.
Yeah, like what were some hardships that they faced while you guys were deployed?
While you're deployed, like I said, my family didn't really face that. I mean, there was that lack of communication with their son and their brother. And so that the main thing is very difficult because our only method of communication was through emails, and that was unreliable at best. And then when we would begin our missions, where we would conduct missions vital to national security, there was no communication on or off the ship. So you just disappeared for 2 months, maybe more. Again, with the married guys with kids, your wife doesn't hear from you for 2 months. I mean, she knows it's coming, but it has a profound effect on her. And you come back from deployment. More than one time, I saw we would all get off the ship pretty much together, and kids would not know their fathers. They wouldn't have anything to do with them, especially the younger kids. 2, 3 years old. Who's that guy? And so it had to be a very gradual reintroduction into their lives, and I know it had to tear at the guys.
Yeah.
And the moms too.
So like, how do you cope with being deployed then? I mean, it's for such a long period of time.
You have to fall into the routine. I mean, that's the thing about at least our deployments, life on the ship. It's a routine, and you have to lose yourself in the routine. That's the only way that you get through it. Is you get up, you do the same thing every day, and you tick off the days until you're going to be back. And then it also helps that we would actually, because we were a seagoing vessel. There were scheduled ports that we would call into. Over a 6-month deployment, we would call into maybe 2 or 3 ports, and so you stop in Paradise for a week. That helps a little bit, especially for the single guys, because we're like, yeah, this isn't that bad, as you said, on the beach, lawn chair, and,
That sounds good. But like, how does the families cope? I know, like you said, with the young children, and
like I say, I honestly, I've always wondered how they did it, and it takes 2 very special people to make that commitment to one another, knowing that one is only going to be there some of the time, and that the wife, and I tend to put the wives in this role. That's not necessarily a case for the whole military, but the submarine service, when I was in it, was all male. So they've just started introducing women to serve on the ships. So, I don't want to sound biased or anything. But it takes two very special people to try to do that. And you just have to have someone, both of you have to just be committed to making it work, to figuring it out. And it's different for everybody, I would imagine.
Okay. So does the Veterans Resource Center, how does it help veterans?
Well, it helps veterans. The Veterans Resource Center at UK helps veterans transition from that military lifestyle back into a civilian and specifically a student lifestyle. So puts a lot of tools at our disposal and gives us a lot of connections to figure out how to make that transition, because for everybody it's different, because everybody's service is different. Mr. Dotson can get you in touch with counselors if that's what you need, or can make sure that you get into the programs that you're looking to get into. Also, he helps with just admissions in general, because some veterans come in right out of the military, they can't meet all the admissions deadlines and stuff. So he kind of gets a lot of that waived, or helps work around it to get you started in school when you're able to start.
So there's a lot of benefits with.
Absolutely, and it's kind of is the center of a network on campus that the veteran can kind of have access to just by kind of coming here and saying, hey, I need some help with this. It doesn't help a lot with the family aspect, but then helping the student transition into civilian life and student life is going to ultimately help his or her family, because they're going to be more relaxed and less stressed, and that will carry through into their lives at home as well.
Yes. And, well, since you're in the military and you actually got out, how does the government actually treat the veterans? Because...
Well, see, that's the thing. The Department of Veterans Affairs is a huge government, bureaucracy, for the lack of a better term. But so is the Department of Defense.
Yes.
The Department of Defense wasn't necessarily user-friendly all the time. The Department of Veterans Affairs is not necessarily user-friendly all the time. What's fortunate about UK's location is that we have, the VA Medical Center right here by campus, which, doesn't just house the hospital, but a lot of veteran services, VA services. So, we kind of have a direct line right into the VA just because they're here in Lexington. That helps, because, then Tony can talk to some people over there, or find out who you need to talk to and get you sent over there, so you're going over there kind of with the heads up. You know what I'm saying? Knowing what you've got to get done, knowing who you need to talk to, and you don't get shuffled around from person to person and get the runaround.
Yeah.
Because that can happen. And, maybe because they don't understand what your problem is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But overall, veterans are treated fairly well, considering, what we did and what was asked of us. Could there be more things done for veterans? Absolutely. But, you have to strike the balance somewhere.
Yes.
Because you're not going to be able to do everything.
Yeah, but, there were a lot of spending cuts from the Bush administration. Did that affect any of the resources, or? Well,
the spending cuts, have kind of been across, not just from Bush's administration, but also, you've got the Obama administration, the committee, the combined committee, congressional committee to look at budget savings.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's very tempting to look at veterans benefits, but fortunately we have the VA and then a lot of private veterans associations that are up, lobbying for veterans benefits and making sure that they don't cut too deep in any one area.
So does the Veterans Resource Center help you with these, with some financial aspects for school?
They don't help, but the Veterans Resource Center provides you the means and the knowledge to get access to your benefits from the VA, from the Department of Veterans Affairs, through specifically the GI Bills for education. There are several of them, depending on which one you qualify for. You know, they can help you apply. In fact, when I started school last spring, I had no idea how to apply. And from what I read online, they were like, go to the Veterans Resource Center on UK if you want to go to UK, and they'll help you get applied. And so I walked in here and had no idea. They were like, oh yeah, sit down, go to this website, do this. I mean, just step by step. This is how you do it. Okay, now this is who you need to talk to actually get paid, because you have to submit a form to get your money each semester.
So they're like, they're very informative about what you have to do. And
absolutely, they are. You know, we're here to provide the knowledge to the veterans so that they can get their benefits. And that kind of goes back to what we do and how you deal with the VA as well. You know what I'm saying? Because there's, you know, most veterans don't know what all they're eligible for. I don't know what all I'm eligible for as a veteran. I mean, people have told me, yeah, you're probably eligible for this or you're probably eligible for that, but they, you know, until you actually go chase it down, you don't really know.
Yeah.
Well, here we've got a lot of guys and a lot of ability to talk, to communicate with the VA, to figure out exactly, is this guy, you know, eligible for this or whatever. And we even have representatives from the VA coming to the office every so often, and they're just here all day. And if you have a question, you can stop by and see them, and they'll talk to you, and they get back with you and all that good stuff. So yeah, it's very helpful.
That is really nice for the veterans. Okay, well, that's all my questions, and this concludes my interview. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.